the food that you grew up with in Barbados into what you do now as a fine dining chef? Is there any of that in there?
Actually, right now I'm working on a menu to where I'm trying to bring out. I'm trying to turn a lot of dishes from my country into fine dining, and it's really hard because we're not used to portioning. We eat a lot of big portions, um, and it's like when you go to a Jamaican restaurant or any Caribbean restaurant, you get a lot of food.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the hardest part for me is trying to figure out like how to take my culture and what I know and transform it into fine dining without losing the full effects of flavor and also that fullness that we get because it's comfort food.
Mm-hmm.
It's meant to be comfort food, so I it's been taking me a couple years now to actually trying to work it and figure out what kind of things I want to do, how to pull certain things, how to take away, how to add, to be able to still have that comfort food effect, but also in a totally different aspect of when you think of eating certain food.
Well, the food that you put out now, I check out your social media, particularly Instagram, on a regular basis, and the food you've been cranking out is absolutely glorious. You're really great with seafood. I saw a lobster and squid ink pasta one day, and
Mhm.
what was the inspiration behind that? That I just wanted to lick my phone when I saw that photo.
Which dish was that? Which dish was that again?
It was a lobster and squid ink pasta,
Oh
and
yes.
I
Oh,
want you to
so
talk about the inspiration behind that.
oh man. So I've been it's one of those things too. Like that was one of the things where like I wasn't privy to eating lobster when I grew up. Lobster's it's expensive. And I
Hmm.
don't even remember having lobster as a child until I got to Boston.
Okay,
You know,
where it's plentiful.
yes. And so with the pasta, I really love pasta. I love Italian cuisine. So I wanted to, and actually I think my pasta plating is not up to par. I've been working on it over and over and over, trying to get it
Really?
better.
Okay.
Yes. And so with the curry, I'm a big curry person. I love curry. I will put curry on anything. I will eat curry because that's what I that's one of the things that I loved when I grew up was curry.
Hmm.
But knowing that there's so many different types of curry, I wanted to give that dish like something like more of um, a Thai, but still kind of tying back to my roots because the seafood we eat a lot of seafood in Barbados, and also with Italian cuisine, I love Italian cuisine, so I use the pasta, and then with the lobster, something that I didn't really know about till I came to Boston. My dad used to have that every Sunday when I came to Boston. So I tied that into it, and also the curry effect of because I love curry. So I tried to tie all those things that I really like together into one dish. I didn't think it was going to work out, but it actually did. It really shocked me how well it worked out.
You and because you said some things about, oh, it's not the plate that I want, but the plating I thought was beautiful. It made my mouth water, and that's the ambition. I mean, your plating is absolutely gorgeous. Sometimes it's so perfect and so beautiful that I'm scared. I would be afraid to eat that if somebody put it in front of me. I just want to sit there and just, I don't know, admire it because it's so
Mhm.
beautiful. And sometimes you see beautiful plates, but then they don't look very appetizing. Yours they look like works of art, and they look very appetizing. And I'm sure that's how you became known as the date night chef. So talk about that.
The date night chef. So that goes back to 2019, I believe. I was living in San Antonio, and I was trying to figure out a way like how to instead of because when I thought about going out, I was like, man, you have to find a babysitter. And I was like, man, like you know what? And I was in culinary school at the time,
Okay.
so I was only in culinary school for 6 months. So literally all the dishes that I would learn in culinary school, I would come home and I would try them. I'd be like, all right, let me do this, but let me tweak it.
Right.
Now because I never got the formal training before because I was in the military cooking and I never really understood like the five mother sauces. I never knew what a bechamel was or how to cook a duck. I didn't know how to do any of that. So once I learned it at school that day, I would literally come home and I would stop at the grocery store on my way home, buy those same ingredients and cook it in the house the same day again and tweak it.
Okay.
um, but the date night came around. I set up my patio, and I offered a couple of my friends at the time. Was like, "Hey, come through. $80, just come through, 4 courses. At that time, I was serving a lot of food on the plate.
I bet you were.
I was serving a lot of food on the plate. And, that's where it came from. Like, it was just trying to give people that experience that you have in the restaurant, but without having to leave your home, because you're going to have a better experience with your partner in your home when you put the kid to bed, or you have a babysitter, they go over to your cousin's house or your family's house, and then you're there at the house. You can drink, you can laugh, you can do whatever you want to, and you don't have to worry about driving home or getting on your way home. I'm there to set the mood for you. I'm there to give you that time that you need with your loved one or your spouse. And then that way, whether you're going through something with them, I want to be able to provide that experience to where you don't really have to go from this place to this place. I gave you the experience. The mood's already set. Have a good night.